Hi, Beaver Readers. First chapter Friday today, and we are reading The Romantic Tragedies of a Drama King, and it is funny. Hold on to your hats, folks. Starts with a letter. Dear Jean-Pierre, I regret to inform you that this will be the last letter you ever receive from me. You see, this year I have decided to get a boyfriend, and unfortunately for you, I simply don't have the time to both continue my pen pal responsibilities and give this new task the focus it requires. I don't want to lie to you and say that getting a boyfriend is the only reason I'm stopping my letters. I think, Jean-Pierre, you are partly to blame. We've been writing letters to each other for nearly 2 years now, and there hasn't been the slightest hint that you'll invite me to France, despite me having invited you to my house several times. Invitations that you have rather rudely ignored. There was also the issue last year when you addressed your letter to someone called Felix, and in the process made it abundantly clear that ours was not an exclusive writing relationship. Have you invited Felix to Normandy, Jean-Pierre? Don't even bother responding to that because I shan't reply. Lastly, and I don't quite know when this happened, but I've noticed that we now write all of our letters in English. And because of that, my French has not improved at all. I wish you well, and I hope that life is kind to you. Despite all this, I genuinely hope that you get onto the tennis team this year. I know how important that is to you. But like I said, this is the last you will ever hear from me. Kind regards, en bonheur. Patrick Simmons, Patch. P.S. In your first ever letter, you attached a Milka chocolate bar, which was quite the incentive for keeping up your pen pal relationship. And I wrongly assumed they would be a regular addition to your letters. I think it would be a really classy and symbolic move to send me one more as a final adieu to your writing relationship. Also, they're really quite hard to find here. Okay, now that is the last you'll ever hear from me properly this time. Au revoir, Patrick Simmons, Patch. XXS, crossed out. I cross out the kisses at the end of my letter because I think it undermines the gravity of what I'm saying. My chair creaks as I lean back and I hold the letter up for inspection. Faultless penmanship, as always. I do feel a bit guilty for ending my pen pal relationship with Jean-Pierre, but in order to make room for new relationships in my life, I have to weed out the ones that aren't bearing fruit. I learned that phrase from one of my mom's self-help books, which I've taken to borrowing on a semi-short-term basis. If you look past the tacky covers, there's some real pearls of wisdom there. It's fascinating how much it is applicable to both a divorcee in her mid-40s and a queer 16-year-old, especially as we're both desperately seeking a man. While, of course, someone seeming to be happy on her own in order to lure them in. Ah, Jean-Pierre. It's worth noting that I've been in love twice before. The first time was with Fred. Very charming, with neat blonde hair and a penchant for accessories. Problem was that he was an animated character on Scooby-Doo. I appreciate that he was romantically involved with Daphne, but I always felt their chemistry to be somewhat lacking. Fred took charge, what I found very appealing, but now find a bit problematic. And he, alongside Velma, was a large factor in why the gang had such a high success rate when I don't think any of them were formally trained in detective work. The second time was with Josh, who was definitely a real person, but things turned sour when I discovered that he was a paid babysitter rather than a 17-year-old genuinely interested in my origami and who weirdly enjoyed enforcing bedtimes. You have to be organized in order to fall in love, so I've given myself a boyfriend deadline. The end of the school year feels much too far away. I'm ready to take the leap now, and I'll get complacent if the deadline's too far in the future. Also, I'm terrible at being patient. So I've marked in my diary with a big red heart the perfect deadline. Prom. Our school doesn't do actual prom, but my drama club puts on a party after the first big show that everyone calls prom. Apart from Ms. Jenkins, who runs it because she thinks that Americanisms are melting our minds, which is ridiculous because America is responsible for such incredible things. Off the top of my head, Kelly Clarkson, the Hollywood sign, and cereal so sweet that they make your teeth shake. I even tried suggesting a big family holiday in America under the guise of political intrigue, but Mom quickly sniffed out it was for cereal, so we went to Devon instead. Regardless, prom is the perfect time to have a boyfriend. Let me tell you, why prom is the perfect time to have a boyfriend. Proms are romantic. Ask any film. There's a photo element. It's so important to professionally document love. I won't have to spend an awkward amount of time pretending to browse the crisp selection when the slow songs come on. It's in December, so I'll probably receive a thoughtful and romantic Christmas present from him, which already seems a bit obvious, but also I want it. Last year, our prom was tasteless and uninspired. The theme was party. It was my mission to convince Ms. Jenkins, partly through pretending to cry, that this year was integral to have a legitimate planning committee. Luckily, as I'm the only person who volunteered to be on the committee, I am essentially organizing my own perfect night. Patrick, we're leaving at 7:45 on the dot. I'm snapped out of my daydream of slow dancing with a new boyfriend to the sound of my mom yelling at me from downstairs. Oh, bugger. I went too long trying to impress Jean-Pierre with my handwriting, and now I've ruined my life. I stand up from the little wooden desk in my room and I go to the mirror on the wall, which is in the shape of a crescent moon, making it very difficult to see anything in. Today's the first day of school, so obviously I have to wear something that perfectly encapsulates the vibe of my upcoming year. Like a sociopath, I've left it until the morning to decide what that new look will be. Looking at the moon mirror reminds me that I also need to redecorate my room to match my new vibe. I can't have my future boyfriend coming upstairs, obviously expecting to see a bedroom of a sophisticated adult with warm neutrals, wicker storage baskets, and low lighting, and instead entering the bedroom of a child, or more specifically, a child obsessed with space, because alongside the moon mirror are star curtains, an astronaut figurine, a giant poster of the moon landing, and a hanging rotating model of the solar system. I don't even like space anymore. I just so happened to be obsessed with when I was last allowed to redesign my room. Luckily, over the last week, I've managed to steal little touches that make my room seem more mature. A gingerbread scented candle that my mom got for Christmas, one of the pillows from the downstairs, and a lamp I found in the shed that unfortunately gives me little electric shocks every time I turn it on, but it's worth it. Did you hear me, Patrick? Mom yells again. Ugh. I lean my head at the landing. It's Patch! I shout. Another part of my rebrand is shifting from Patrick to Patch to feel more characterful and mysterious, as if I just don't have time to say Patrick. Patrick is the type of person to give his hand a hickey from practicing kissing to her. True story, unfortunately. Well, Patch is the type of person to give other people tips on how to kiss while also smelling divine and having the perfect amount of rip on his ripped jeans. Also, I continue over the sound of the coffee machine, you're stressing me out, and this is a really important day. You should be savoring this. Your child is going into lower six, a once in a lifetime occasion. This is a pause while she waits for the coffee machine to stop pouring. Apart from when Kath did it last year, 45 minutes, Patrick. My older sister Kath is old for her year, a cruel, cold-hearted winter baby. And I'm young for my year, a joyful, warm-hearted summer baby. Because of that, we're only 1 year apart. And while mom misguidedly hoped would make us close, she's also misguided and give me 45 minutes to get ready. You can't do anything momentous in 45 minutes. I contort my body in an attempt to see as much of myself in the moon mirror as possible, so I can figure out what will be the quickest route of personalization. Also, I can see I can see a slightly ginger. All I see is slightly ginger hair. I've browned it as sunset blonde and arms that are too long. As always, I decide to FaceTime Jean. We can do this. We just need to streamline, says Jean calmly on a loudspeaker while I sift through a box of slogan badges. Jean is my best friend in the world. It's unfortunate that her name is Jean, but it's not something I hold against her. She's sensational, but also a bit of a nightmare. Recently, she's taken to wearing a decorative hair clip every day and learning everything there is to know about queerness. At first, this was largely to support me, but now it's gone too far. She just tells me off when I'm not being progressive enough. This is theoretically good, but realistically very annoying because, sorry, I am the queer one.